Joining us now is Robert Costa of the National Review, who has a new online piece on the race. Good afternoon, Robert. Now, things are looking bad for Mr. Markey's opponent, Gabriel Gomez, and yet his team is saying they still have a chance. Can you explain that?
Oh, well, I don't really think they have much of a chance, Martin. It's a tough race. I was there with Scott Brown back in January of 2010, walking around snow-covered Boston, and you got the sense back in 2010,
I thought he was
Martin,
driving around in a truck.
Well, that's right. He had a barn jacket and a truck, a very populist message. But you got the sense back then, Martin, that Democrats weren't paying attention. And this time around, 3 years later, they surely are paying attention. Bill Clinton, as you mentioned, even Carole King, President Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, they've all come up to Boston, to Massachusetts, to stump for Ed Markey. I think he's very much poised to win tomorrow. Now,
you write, Robert, that Gomez is actually the sort of Republican the party would love to showcase. He's the son of immigrants, he's a former Navy SEAL, and yet he spent much of his time trying to put a distance between himself and the National Party, hasn't he?
He has. He's really run as an unabashed, moderate Republican, and this has actually turned off a lot of conservatives and Republican groups around the country. You have American Crossroads, for example, Karl Rove's group. They've not really played in this race. The NRSC has played in this race, but a lot of conservatives, they don't really like that Gomez is trying to be a moderate in his message. He's pro-gay marriage, he's pro-tax reform, he's for the Gang of Eight's immigration bill, and so this hasn't really enthused conservatives in the same way Scott Brown enthused the right back in 2010.
But, Robert, isn't Mr. Gomez simply learning from what happened in 2012 and using his abilities and his intellect, and he's cognizantly aware of what went wrong, and he's trying to avoid exactly the same thing that happened?
He is. And I think Gomez is not finished in politics, even if he loses tomorrow. He's 47 years old, and it's good to remember that this is his first time attempting for elective office, and next year this seat comes up for a full 6-year term. I think if Gomez gets above, let's say, 45% tomorrow against Congressman Markey, he'll still have a place in Massachusetts politics in the future.
Okay, now one of the polls we just showed digs into one of Gomez's problems. He faces a large gap with female voters, with Mr. Markey winning almost 2/3 of their vote. Again, is that lower number the fault of Gomez or the National Party?
Oh, it's very much the National Party. In fact, Gabriel Gomez has tried to distance himself from the National Republican Party, especially on social issues. Gomez says he's personally pro-life, but he won't fight to end Roe versus Wade if he's elected to the Senate. But the other day on the campaign trail, he called Trent Frank's comment about rape stupid, and he has been pretty bold about going after his party on how they talk about social issues. But he struggled. The Democrats' quote war on women that worked very well in 2012 is working very well against Gomez this time around, and he's not really connecting with women voters because they're skeptical about it. And if you look at Markey's campaign message, Martin, he's really running for women, for the female vote, for women, and he's really articulated that a lot on the trail.
I imagine Mr. Gomez can't have been very pleased with Representative Michael Burgess's comments about masturbating fetuses either last week.
That's it. No, not at all. And Gomez, I think, has his head in his hands sometimes when you see him campaign, disappointed with the party. The question is, post Scott Brown, can a Republican win in New England? Can a moderate Republican win?
Robert Costa of the National Review. As always, Robert, thank you so much.